Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay Black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Thursday, November 13th, 2025. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. I'm live at the Butterfield Bermuda Championship in Bermuda. We'll hear from one of the black golfers of the PGA Tour who's playing in this tournament. Also, the longest government shutdown in history is now over. We'll be talking to Congresswoman Lauren Underwood about what is next. In the redistricting battle taking place in the country, Donald Trump's DOJ is suing California to block their new congressional map. Illinois is next up in line for the redistricting fight. Senator Willie Preston will explain why he is more interested in protecting black voters than in Democratic redistricting efforts. A federal judge heard arguments to disqualify interim U.S. Attorney Lindsey Halligan in the case against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Also, the Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. is in the Chicago hospital under observation for a neurodegenerative condition. We'll explain. Plus, if you're not into baking, but still need to bring a dessert to this year's holiday gathering, we've got just the thing for you. We have the perfect sweet treat. That's in our marketplace segment. It's time. Also, Megyn Kelly gives an interesting defense to Jeffrey Epstein sleeping with underage girls in a bid to support Trump. She's weird. It's time to ring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. Yeah, it's gonna go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah.
federal government shutdown is over. Donald Trump signed the bill into law last night to get things moving again. 1.4 million federal workers are still actually awaiting their back pay. So the question is, what's next? Lauren Underwood, Congresswoman from Illinois, joins us right now. Congresswoman, glad to have you back on the show. How you doing?
Hi, Roland. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's jump right into it. Okay, so Democrats are still fighting over this issue of health care. Senators are saying, hey, Republicans promised us that there's going to be a vote next month. But here's the deal. Republicans obviously already cut the subsidies. They did it in that big, ugly bill. So do you have any faith that they somehow are going to now support it next month?
Well, we are really clear that we have to continue the fight, and that's why Leader Jeffries filed a discharge petition, which is a legislative mechanism that allows for 218 members of Congress to sign a form and then force a vote on the floor of the House. And so that discharge petition would extend the popular health care tax credits for an additional 3 years, offering working families much needed relief.
So here's the question, and your background's in healthcare. What I hear from people is, all right, why 3 years? Why have to go through this vote again? Why not make the subsidies permanent? Can you explain why there is a vote every few years regarding these subsidies?
I've introduced the legislation to make these ACA tax credits permanent. I first introduced it in 2019. We got a version of the bill signed into law in 2021, and then these tax credits extended in 2022. Listen, I understand that the MAGA extremists that have taken control of the Republican Party are interested in cutting healthcare from the American people, not extending, not expanding, not addressing disparities, not helping seniors Medicare. They are trying to take away healthcare from people. And we've seen that on full display through the big ugly bill, the largest healthcare cut in history. We've seen that on display in this government shutdown, which is the longest in history, and failed to address any healthcare needs of the American people. And so at this point, what we're trying to do is secure healthcare for working families who buy their own healthcare coverage so that they would have that coverage through the end of Donald Trump's presidential term. And so, we are under no illusions about what the other side values. And we're just fighting hard for everyday Americans to make sure that they have the essential health care that they need. Everyone should be able to see a provider. Everyone should be able to get a procedure if they need one. They should be able to, fill their prescriptions without going broke. And that's what this is about.
So we're going to be gearing up for this battle again. Fine. 1 month from now, vote happens in the Senate. But here's the problem. That means nothing because Mike Johnson hasn't committed to even taking the bill up in the House. So the Senate could vote. Let's just say the Senate actually votes to restore the subsidies. There's no guarantee that Johnson is going to do it.
So, Roland, what I'm talking about is in the House. In the House, we have something called a discharge petition that if every single House member signs, then we can get a handful of Republicans and force a vote in the House. That's the 3-year bill. And so it's similar to what we have successfully done with the Epstein files, right? We have
How many votes do you need? How many do you need? Let's say all Democrats support it. How many people on the Republican side do you need to support the subsidies?
The Republicans have a 3-seat majority.
So you need 3 Republicans to cross the aisle to join the Democrats to extend these subsidies.
I believe that's the number today. As you know, we just had a member sworn in finally, Adelita Grijalva, this week. There's going to be another special election in early December that's competitive in Tennessee. And so, this is kind of fluid because the number of representatives is fluid. But right now, we need 3.
Okay. So, all right. So let's just say you get the discharge petition in the House. So, that happens. Let's say it passes. What then happens? Does it go over to the Senate and they have to take this up?
Correct.
So if what happens, what you're proposing, if that happens, then this wait for this vote in December is moot because this bill that you're proposing would actually take place and would force the Senate. And again, Republicans don't have to even consider the bill. They can reject that particular bill, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we know that many pieces of good legislation die in the Senate. The point is that we're not giving up the fight. We have several more weeks before January 1. Obviously, we wanted a resolution long before this moment, but I think that what people need to remember is that we've not lost. Right. We have an opportunity to still get this done. And we need the American people. We need your listeners, your viewers, to be reaching out to their representatives, including their Republican representatives, and asking them to sign on to the discharge petition, requesting meetings with their district offices. Everyone's going to be on break the week of Thanksgiving and at home in their communities. And you should be asking them when you see them out and about. You know, this is the time to increase the pressure on these so-called bipartisan Republicans who were going on TV nonstop throughout the shutdown, saying that they were so bipartisan and they cared about health care. Well, this is the time for them to prove it. And, you know, we're really encouraging people to join us in this fight.
All right, then. Well, listen, it is certainly a worthy fight. And again, your particular bill, if this discharge petition, it would extend these subsidies for 3 years, correct?
That's right. And it's Leader Jeffries.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. It is certainly going to be interesting, and pressure should be applied. And listen, you got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene are out here saying all sorts of things. Let's see if she backs it up. That if it's her vote, that you just need two. And there are some Republicans who are not in safe districts, and they might be under pressure because of that losing health care for the constituents. Congresswoman Underwood, we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, going to go to the break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
Book bans, anti-intellectualism, and Trump's continued war on wisdom.
This is a coordinated backlash to progress. At the end of the day, conservatives realized that they couldn't win a debate on facts. They started using our language against us, right? Remember when we were all woke and the woke movement and all that kind of stuff? Now everything is anti-woke, right? When we were talking about including diversity, equity, inclusion, and higher education, now it's anti-DEI. All this are efforts to suppress the truth because truth empowers people.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
What's up? It's the MCEO Talib Kweli. You are checking out Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, my pound, Dr. Greg Carr, Department of African American Studies, Howard University, out of D.C., Dr. Nola Haynes, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, out of D.C., and Marcus Batchelor, National Political Director, People for the American Way, also out of D.C. Marcus, I'll start with you. Listen, a lot of people have been complaining, saying Dems not fighting hard, but listen, you just heard Representative Underwood said, and I keep trying to explain to people this idea that when you understand power, that Republicans control the House, Republicans control the Senate, Republicans control the White House. So therefore, Democrats have limited power. In the House, they have limited power. So this idea of the discharge petition makes sense because what you also do is if all the Democrats hold together, then you force these Republicans to have to be on record and vote against extending the subsidies again. As opposed to the subsidies being in the big ugly bill, you now break this out and you will have a very specific vote against the subsidies. There are some Republicans, the National Democrats laid out that there's some 35 vulnerable Republicans, and so hey. To me, this is smart strategy, and you're not hoping and waiting on this so-called promised vote that Senate Majority Leader John Thune gave Senator Dick Durbin and others.
Yeah, I think it is a promising path forward, and we hope that politically Republicans can be pressured to do well. But I think it's, somehow the best we could get out of a very difficult situation. I mean, the Republicans are putting them on pressure around health care ahead of the midterms, I think was a very good strategic move by the Democrats. But they are going to have to go out and explain to their coalition, is this all we could get, right? It is putting the pressure on this discharge petition or on this health care solution, all we could get out of, right, 30 odd days of pain. They're going to have, some mending to do within their coalition, both on Capitol Hill, but also national Democrats. But I think putting Republicans on record is a good pivot. It's a really good messaging pivot ahead of the midterms. But we've got a lot more work to do.
Again, what this boils down to is it boils down to strategy. And if you are House Democrats, you must use every single thing in your repertoire, Nola, because you got limited power.
Absolutely. And to your earlier point, so much of what people are actually wanting to see is performative. They're not interested in process. Democrats have never been the loud party. They've never been that, right? It's always been about process and getting it done behind the scenes. But to your point, again, it's going to take a lot more than explaining to the public about a discharge. I mean, first of all, I couldn't even complete the sentence because I can already see people's eyes rolling back because that's not what the base is wanting to see. So what they're going to have to figure out is how to explain strategy to people. I think it's a different approach than trying to explain the process and to show that it's not just kind of like cowering to Republicans, but there's a plan. And from all the different conversations I've been hearing and seeing, that's what the base is also wanting. They want a plan. They want to know that there is some sort of forward thinking, that it isn't just constantly responding and reactive, that they want proactive, that they want offensive, and that they want a plan and a strategy.
Well, for the grossly unenlightened or the people who choose not to understand the nuances of politics, Greg, they may not get this. But again, we talk about reconciliation. We talk about discharge petition. At the end of the day, you use all you got. And if, so what you have here is Representative Underwood saying, hey, forget. You had some senators saying, well, let's extend it 4 years. She's like, the hell with that. Let's do it for 3 years. Like, let's not sit here and go through this game where, okay, a year from now, we're dealing with the exact same thing. Put these Republicans on record to vote against health care. And guess what? You get to run ads in every single one of their congressional districts showing who voted against their own constituents when it comes to health care.
That's exactly right, Roland, and that's what's going to happen. We already know that's what's going to happen. We'll be right back here on the 30th of January. And, I'm down here in Atlanta for the National Conference of Black Lawyers conference, and going through the airport this afternoon, in talking with TSA workers, you could tell their relief. The reality is that people were being harmed directly. People are going to be harmed, all of us, because all of our premiums are going to go up, not just the folks who are relying on those tax subsidies. And that is in the immediate offing. Now, what Representative Underwood was talking about, of course, is a position to take. And as you asked her, why not make them permanent? She said, well, basically, I've been trying. Let's just face the cold, hard fact that the time to deal with this was November 2024. As you said, ad hominem, as you said, consistently, as we all said consistently. We had to get off our behinds and get in the game. Well, guess what? We're here now. And the White Nationalist Party thinks that they somehow stave something off, but it's very clear that they now own the health care argument. And while the first few days of coverage was Democrats fold, Dems in direct disarray, I think the longer we get away from what happened over the weekend, the more it will become clear that all the Republicans did was intensify the blame on them. You remember back in late October, Rob Bresnahan and Jeff, what was his name? Jeff Drew out of New Jersey. Bresnahan is out of Pennsylvania. John Kiggins out of Virginia. And a number of other Republicans sent a letter to the MAGA Muppet, Mike Johnson, saying, hey, man, I think we probably need to consider extending these ACA benefits. If the white nationalists were serious, what they would do is pass an extension. We know that a 1-year extension was floated on the Senate side, but at the end of the day, when this goes on record and that same discharge petition work that is leading to the Epstein files being released is the same maneuver. And I'm sure Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has already come out because she's trying to survive politically down here in Georgia, she's already said we need to extend it. All they need is a couple more. They got a 3-seat majority. When that Texas seat is finished, that goes down to 2, and they got to flip 2 Republicans. It's not going to be hard to do that, I think. And at the end of the day, if this goes through the midterms, as people have suffered for almost a whole year with no health insurance or extremely high quadruple, quintuple premiums, guess who's going to pay the price? It won't be the Democrats, if the Democrats are smart enough to understand. It's going to be the Republican Party.
Marcus, this is the thing that I really need people to understand. Because it amazes me. It amazes me when these yahoos out here love to say somebody's a Democratic shield, far left, only support Democrats. And if I had a wall, I had an eraser board, and if I sat here and listed the policies and broken them down, listed 10 issues that are top of line for African Americans and put a D by it and an R by it. I probably would sit here out of the 10, probably 8 of them would be a check by Democrats and 2 by Republicans, maybe 2 by Republicans. So I wonder, these black folks out here who love to run their mouths, I wonder when they try to criticize, because I love the people, oh, you shoving Democrats down our throat. Okay, so can you tell me who's actually supporting the things that you support or that you want? Like here's a perfect example, Marcus. It's always hilarious when these loudmouth, ignorant FBA people run their mouths. It's amazing how much smoke they had for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Democrats over reparations. But they ain't said nothing about Trump and the Republicans, but they always are ripping the Dems. But I'm sitting there going, well, hell, which one of them will even listen to you on the issue? And so when I take the healthcare issue, I can't wait to hear the black folks who love running their mouths talk about, yeah, you trying to shove the Democrats down our throat. You always sitting and touting Democrats. Okay, again, dumbasses, who of the pick a party, which one is advocating for health care subsidies? Republicans or Democrats? So it amazes me when these people, these simple Simons, don't even understand basic policy. I just think what you have are a bunch of loudmouth idiots who simply want to complain about something as opposed to understand, as Greg always says, politics is a delivery system. It's either going to come through the Democrats or the Republicans.
No, that's right. And that's why it's important for us to encourage Democrats to continue to put up. And because we see, even in this healthcare fight, the president trying to pivot on the issue already, saying, oh, the healthcare system's broken. It's, more expensive than it's ever. We're going to try to do in this very libertarian sense. We're going to give you the money to pay for your own health care, right? Not telling people that the insurance companies are then going to drive prices through the roof again, right? And it won't make your health care affordable. Democrats have to stay consistent on the message about why they're fighting for the right things, and not just about why Republicans went home, right, for a month and didn't do anything about the basic conditions of Black people in this country, but how they've also worked overtime, right, to solidify that in action, how they went to court, right, to not feed families, how they're going to court to prevent people from getting the quality health care they deserve. Not only are they sitting on their hands, right, they're actively obstructing. They're actively trying to kill people. And we need to make sure that Democrats are consistent on that, and that especially we're germinating that message in the Black community.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just think that when we, again, Greg, you always talk about delivery system, and
yes, sir.
And when these uneducated, incompetent individuals love to run their mouths, which I find to be hilarious, because in my life, I've never self-identified as a member of any party. I have interest. I have Black interest, and if I have an interest that Democrats oppose and that Republicans may support, so then explain to me then how am I some raging far-left Democratic lover? What I need these people to understand is that when we start talking about what matters to Black people, so let's just take the issue of health care. Is the Affordable Care Act perfect? Hell no. The Affordable Care Act was a massive compromise. I need people to remember, every president since Franklin Delano Roosevelt had been trying to get a health care plan. They all failed. They all failed. Were deals cut with insurance companies, hospitals, pharmaceuticals? The answer is yes. Why? Because it would never have passed. When we go back and look at the polling, Greg, I remember this vividly. It used to drive me crazy when these folks on CNN would talk about it because they would not explain why the polling showed what it polled. They would often say a majority of Americans are against the Affordable Care Act. That was true. But you had to go to the second line. And that's because a lot of the Democrats being polled wanted Medicare for all.
Right.
They didn't want the compromise bill. So when you took the Democrats who wanted Medicare for all and the Republicans and the independents that did not like the bill at all, that's why it was a majority. So the reality is, we see what the larger number is. Now, I hear these people who go, well, Democrats need to have the courage to run on Medicare for all. Okay, but show me if that's a winning hand. And this is the stuff that people seem not to get. Last point, Greg, delivery system. Uninsured black people dropped in a huge way once the Affordable Care Act actually was passed. So when I listen to these complaints and listen to these cronies whine and try to label somebody as far left and a Democratic hat, I'm just sitting there going, how do y'all think this stuff actually happened and who actually passed it?
You know what it is, Roland. You've been battling it your whole life. Well, all of us have. It's weaponized ignorance, as you were saying last week, as we say over and over again. I think it's what led to the minor dust-up with Brother McKelvey, Lenard McKelvey, last week. You can't cut a corner. People want to go from A to Z and skip all letters in between. You can't do that. It's very simple. The Democrats are not our friends. The Republicans are not our friends. It's not about being friends. It's about how do you wield and leverage power. There's a reason why Bernie Sanders is an independent, because he's in a little state where there are 5 people and he can do that, but he caucuses with the Democrats because they are the closest delivery system to enable him to govern. You know, I was talking to one of my former students who is now the chair of the Working Families Party, our brother Maurice Mitchell, who you've talked to, of course, Maurice Mo Mitchell in New York. And what Mo was saying was very simple. He's saying our party has hard values, has a consistent agenda, but we take the position that you can't enact an agenda unless you have access to power and acquire power so you can govern. You can be ideologically pure. In New York, Mo was explaining that when you looked at the election in New York for Zohran Mamdani, more people voted on the Working Families Party in New York State for Zohran Mamdani than voted for Curtis Sliwa. But he was on multiple lines. He was on the WFP ballot. He was on the Democratic ballot. And so in fact, I want to say Mo said more people voted on the Working Families than did on the Democratic ballot. But my point is this. Parties does not mean everybody's running for election. It means you have an agenda. And of course, you know this as well or better than anybody, Roland, as we continue to pray for Reverend Jackson's continuing strength. In 1972 in Gary, the formation of a black political party was about seizing political power. And at that time, as now, the delivery system for doing that, the better of the two was the Democratic Party in terms of where the values align. But let's be crystal clear about what we're talking about right now. And Marcus, I love how you characterize what Trump is doing now as libertarian. Of course, he can't spell the word, but it definitely lines up with that because he said, I'm going to get the money right to the people. The man is terrified. He knows these files are coming out. He's running ragged. It doesn't matter. But when you think about that in terms of the foot soldiers and in terms of how to help our people, the weaponized ignorance is used as a tool to distract us. And all of us, finally, this is again why the Black Star Network is so important. You're not just saying this is what we should do. We're walking slowly through. This is why you should do it. Now, you test it on your own and you come up with your own conclusions. We're relying on people to think. if we think, we're not going to have a problem in this. I do want to mention this. You probably saw this tweet, Roland. I don't know who put it out. I don't know whether it was Derek or whoever his staff was. John Fetterman, of course, had to go to the hospital in Pittsburgh today. Some ventricular fibrillation flare-up. And the NAACP put out a tweet that said, hey, man, hope you get better. And I'm sure he will because he has access to health care. And that kind of kneecap wasn't the word, by the legislature. They didn't call him by name and say, hey, man, didn't you vote against the kind of health care that you're getting right now? But, yeah, get well. My point is that this is not going to be a win for those who are standing in the way of people getting health care. And if you say, well, no, I don't care, well, guess what? If you had to go to the emergency room and get a bone set and they send you that bill, I bet you'd be a Democrat quick then, won't you?
Sorry about this, folks. And listen, now there are some audio issues that we're sorting through those, so just let us know that we're working through that. It's not a mic issue, y'all. It's the internet line here. Redistricting is a major issue. We're seeing it take place all across the country. And you've got Democrats who are saying, hey, we have to maximize power. And so we see Governor Wes Moore saying that he's forming a committee. You see what happened in California. It's all done to combat what happened in Texas. Illinois could also do the exact same thing. My next guest, though, has been resisting these calls, saying that he doesn't want to lose black power as a result of aiding Democrats. Willie Preston is the chair of the Illinois Senate Black Legislative Caucus. Glad to have you on the show. So explain to me, what do you mean by you don't want to lose black political power to advance the interests of Democrats?
Well, Roland, thank you for having me on. Before I start, have to say my thoughts and my prayers is with one of my heroes, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., and I know that you and the people that listen to this call share those calls and those prayers and join me there. Look, I think that it is very important to appreciate the fact that we are in a war, a national war, and I wanted to make it very clear. I understand that. But here's also a fact. I'm 40 years old. When I was born, the first congressional district was 90% black. The second congressional district was mid-70s, and the seventh congressional district was roughly around in the 70s as well. Today, none of those districts in Illinois are majority black, and I think it's important for people to understand what I just said. None of these districts are majority black today. And so what we have experienced in Chicago and in Illinois is a mass remigration for decades for various reasons. And Roland, you from Chicago, you spent time here, as black folks have been leaving the state of Illinois in droves for decades. So if you look at right now, I think there's a misconception that when we are talking about the first, the second, and the seventh congressional districts that are currently led by black congresspeople, those are not majority black districts right now. And so we have to protect these hard fought gains because there are folks who are challenging us right now for these offices. And as you know, every time we see a giant like Congressman Danny Davis retire, we see a majority of many candidates run, which is just part of democracy, and I support that. But you also see people coming in to try to take these offices away. And I think you would agree, representation matters.
What you're making, so here's the deal. The point you're making, though, is that if you actually look at the map nationally, a significant number of CBC members do not come from majority black districts. So what you're talking about, obviously, are folks who are elected. But you talked about power. Well, here's the question. Do you want to have black representatives in the minority party, meaning if the Republicans control the House, then those black members will never be committee chairs, will never be subcommittee chairs, and will never control the levers of power?
No, I reject the whole premise, and I'm going to tell you, I want to make sure that black people maintain our goal, maintain the gains that we've made. You look over right next door to us, Roland. You got Detroit, Michigan, an 80% black city. Not one black congressman representing them. And that's what I'm protecting.
Hold up. But folks either voted or didn't vote. Let's go to Memphis. I understand the point. If I go to Memphis, you have a long line of black representation of the city of Memphis. The representative now from Memphis is Steve Cohen, and the voters in Memphis have picked him over a series of high-profile black candidates in the last several elections. He's now facing State Representative Justin Pearson. So I understand your point, but aren't voters making those decisions? Didn't you have a number of prominent black people in Detroit run and lose to Rashida Tlaib? So it's not like prominent black people didn't run. They got beat. So aren't black voters making their choice?
No, and you're making my argument for me, Roland. Look, when you dilute the black vote and you have a number of black people running, yes, there's opportunity for people that are not black to come up and come right up the middle. And that's what I'm guarding against. Look, black people inside Chicago and inside of Illinois, they are looking for us to stand up for their rights. They're looking for us to fight for everything from SNAP to housing to bringing back trade schools. Look, when I look at our community, Roland, as you do, you look at our community with an affinity. I'm not suggesting that other people don't. But what I do know is that representation for us matters. And there has never been a time where anybody out of our community has represented our people as well as black people have. And so, but I think you did miss something that I said. You just said fighting for SNAP benefits, fighting for trades. You laid out. So I'll just give an example. And this was not because Biden and Harris were in the White House. When we looked at the funding that went to HBCUs, that funding, that wasn't Biden Harris. That was being driven in a subcommittee by Congressman Bobby Scott. Because the Democrats control the House. So the point I'm trying to make is, because I saw this in Texas. It happened in Texas. When the Republicans, when they did mid-decade redistricting, Tom DeLay, when the first walkout of the Democrats, you had a black Democrat, Ron Wilson, who made the same argument that you actually make it right now about the Republicans said, we'll create another black district in Houston. Well, what they did is they created a second black district in Houston, but their whole goal was to wipe out all of the white Democrats. So what happens? They created the district. They got wiped out. Democrats lost the majority. So you had a second black district in Houston, but they were in the minority, meaning they had no power. So if you're saying we want to deliver things, please let me know, how can you deliver when you're in the minority and your party is not in the majority? Look, Roland, I reject that entirely. We're not going to be in the minority as Democrats. Democrats, however, we have to do the work. We need to be all across the country registering voters. We need to be all across the country making sure that we turn out our bases respectively. But what I can tell you is, as a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat, where I've been frustrated, and black people like me have, is 3 weeks before an election, I'm told that I'm a part of the base. I'm the base. My community is the base. My grandmother's in the base, and we need to turn out for Democrats, and we do it every time. And then I don't see my party, unfortunately, until 3 weeks before the next election. I think if we started to, that's where our focus needs to be, actually pouring into, investing in our base. We need to be talking about housing. We need to be talking about the safety net for healthcare like Congresswoman Lauren Underwood did so eloquently a little while ago on your show. So look, we don't get out of the work, but I will tell you this, representation matters. And I want to make sure that black representation continues to stay in Illinois. And I want to be very, very clear on what I'm about to say. We as a people, when we give up power voluntarily, we're sending a message to the next generation that it just don't matter who's in office, long as they're a Democrat. And that's not the case. I stand on the shoulders of people like Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., who fought like hell to make sure that someday a little boy who would know he's somebody will become a state senator and fight to make sure that his community was whole. I'm doing that in this hour. So this isn't Willie Preston's idea. But this is the long-standing view of civil rights champions that you and I both were benefited from their leadership. They would be saying what I'm saying right now. Black representation matters, and to voluntarily give it up is a problem. I think we should look at Detroit. My good friend Donovan McKinney is trying to become congressman because there's not one black congressperson. So you go to Detroit and see if my argument isn't resonating, because I guarantee it is. Because my people in Detroit, hold the line. Keep your black representation.
But you keep, this is the thing though, I'm going to pound, but you keep saying Detroit is 80% black and they don't have a black member of Congress. That's the black people voting.
That's not the case.
So again,
what has happened is we have diluted our power through the maps. The same.
Hold up. And you're right. If 10 black people run, you're absolutely right. But the voters don't have any control over that. That's the individuals are running. But people are still voting. So this notion that well, because what you're describing, that can't protect that. Because guess what? For Jane Davis's seat in Chicago, Robin Kelly's seat in Chicago, or Jonathan Jackson's seat. Hell, when Jonathan Jackson ran, Bobby Rush retired, how many folks were running for that seat? A bunch of black people, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know why nobody could come up the middle? Because they knew it was just too strong of a black population of voters. Now, as we continue to see, when Congressman, my good friend, Congressman Jackson ran, and I was a strong supporter of him, that district right now is a little bit less black already. And so we have, again, Roland, we're going in the wrong direction. I'm trying, listen, the conversation you and I should be having, brother, is how do we increase black percentages in the district? But a conversation about how we're going to voluntarily dilute a little bit of each black congressional district in Illinois is a conversation that we should not be supporting. Now, look, I want to be I've covered this issue extensively across the country, and I have seen places where the percentage of black votes in a district fell under 50%, yet black folks still were the largest group, and if black folks turn out in numbers, they still win. In fact, the Opportunity District in Alabama, one second, I'll give a perfect example. The Opportunity District in Alabama, where Shamari Figures, who's black, was just elected, that's not a district that's a majority black. Blacks make up the majority of the district, but in terms of how it's broken down, but he's black and elected. In fact, again, if you pull the map, if you pull the existing Congressional Black Caucus map, I think people will be shocked to see how many CBC members have been, and this is the largest CBC in history. People will be shocked to see how many CBC members are currently in Congress, not from 50 plus 1% black districts. Yeah, no, look, I understand what you're saying, Roland. Look, I'm very clear on this. We only have 15 50 plus 1 districts in the country that are 50 plus 1 black. I'm very clear on that. What I'm also clear on is in Chicago and in Illinois, there are constantly threats to black power, black districts that have been historically represented by black people. And I'll tell you this.
Okay, so now I'm confused. Okay, hold on. Now I'm confused.
We're already under siege nationally with with people trying to destroy the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And so, what we need...
Now I'm confused. Now, hold on, wait. You just said, let me just be clear, you just said there are only 15 congressional districts that are 50 plus 1% black, right?
Correct.
Okay, so there are, once they have this election to replace Sylvester Turner, you have 62. So, again, explain to the public, you said losing black power when you have 15 of the CBC seats that are 50 plus 1% black, but you have 62 CBC members, the most ever. So how have blacks been losing political power if black political numbers are actually increasing?
Let me tell you a story real quick. I think you might enjoy this one. I met with Leader Hakeem Jeffries in Chicago a couple weeks ago in Congressman Danny Davis's district. A few of us, we met with Leader Jeffries, and then we came down. We got off the elevator, and there was a white guy that was smiling. He was smiling because we were in his building. You know what his name is, Roland? I won't give it to you, but I'll tell you this. He is running to replace Danny Davis, and he's raised more money than every black candidate of the 10 or 12 of them that are running combined. That is a strong possibility that this guy will be able to take the historic 7th congressional district, and it will, I'll tell you this, he's a Democrat. But he ain't a Democrat like my good friend.
Are people like you? Are people
urban, and that's going to be a dramatic reduction of black political power. But we will have a Democrat. But see, I don't want a Democrat for black.
So hold up, wait.
Okay.
So where are the black political leaders in Chicago going to other black people and saying, your ass ain't got a shot, you should get out of the race? Where are the power brokers saying it don't make sense 9 of y'all running when 8 of y'all ain't got no shot at winning?
I wish we had that type of representation. I wish we had that type of person, but we don't. People are telling you know that people are having these type of conversations with people, but people can run. It's a democracy. It's a free world. It's at least here in Chicago and Illinois in the Democratic Party, we play by the rules. So people want to run. Roland, if you could get on that phone, I'll text you everybody's phone number, and I'll text you a list of folks who people don't believe have a shot. If you can convince them to get out the race, I'm all for it. But people are not just going to do that. People are going to do what they want to do. And just like this white candidate who's raised a buku loads of money, he has a right to run. But he threatens black representation, and he doesn't care. I do. And so I'm going to fight back to make sure that we don't dilute a percentage of the black vote to make sure that we get the type of outcome that we need. Black people are sick and tired of being last of all the 16th economic indicators inside this nation. And you know who cares about that? Someone black representing them. And so I can tell you as a candidate for Congress, my slogan, tagline, whatever you want to call it, is one of us. Roland, I am fighting to make sure that somebody who looks at you as a leader, somebody, a thought leader in the country, is representing the 2nd congressional district. That's me. So I think there's a white candidate running in this race right now. He doesn't have the same type of affinity for you that I do. He doesn't have the same type of goals and aspirations for the black community as I do. And I want to make sure his chances are lessened to the greatest extent possible. Because you know what? If we dilute the vote a little bit more, he may get a chance to run up the middle. But I won't worry you too much about that because we're not going to let him.
Questions for the panel? No, go.
I'm sorry, I couldn't catch that.
Maybe the conversation is inside baseball. I am having a really hard time trying to follow the argument. I hear your point about representation. I hear your point about it not being partisan. It's about what black people need in order to survive and thrive. I get that. I'm trying to understand the part about the maps and your pushback. And I'm not trying to be contrarian or anything like that. I genuinely want to be able to explain this, to my family, who's very curious about this issue. So could you explain it to me like I'm 5 years old? What is the core argument?
I'll give you another example. There has been a map that has been showed that says a South Side community right now, Auburn Gresham. It currently is in the 1st Congressional District. It's a pretty prominent community in the 1st Congressional District. Congressman Jonathan Jackson is very, very responsive to this community. In this new map, this neighborhood, Auburn Gresham, will go all the way over to Starved Rock and Naperville and all these places where they will become not as important and not as prominent as they are. That is a reduction of their power as a predominantly black community. I'm fighting to protect that because they have been historically inside this district where they matter. If this map were to advance, they wouldn't matter as much. Now, look, I think Lauren Underwood, Congresswoman Lauren Underwood, is wonderful. I've communicated that to her. The truth of the matter is she came in 2018, a black woman, highly qualified, energetic, and she came in that wave election. She currently represents a district in Illinois. It's not a black district. It's about 12 to 14% black. Nobody can win that district that is black in the country besides her. She's an incumbent, and it's a difficult, once you become an incumbent, it's very challenging to take you out. And so we are grateful that she is there and she came in through that wave election. But if she would have failed to win that election, we would not know a Lauren Underwood and all of the brilliance that she brings to the nation as a black woman that's intelligent, strong, very vociferously, clearly able to communicate on healthcare and other issues. If Lauren Underwood decided today to resign or do something else with her life, you couldn't put $100 million over there to win that election. You couldn't. And Auburn Gresham, this Southside, proud black, church-going, working-class community would be in the hands of maybe a white Democrat, but it could even become a Republican in a scenario there. So I'm simply saying this. We have to protect what we have and grow it. We cannot voluntarily give up our power. That is an irresponsible thing to do politically as it pertains to black representation. And quite frankly, if we were to do this map, there are no guarantees that we would actually take out the targeted Republican Congressman LaHood. I wish we could say that with certainty, but look, we need to be talking about tearing Donald Trump up. We need to be talking about a madman in this country who is trying to destroy our community. And I think what we need to be doing as black people is saying we're going to stick together politically. We're going to strengthen and support the black Congress people that we have. We're not going to be in the business of diluting the power that they have. I'm sorry, I don't know if...
All right, Greg, you're next.
Yeah, thank you, Roland, and thank you, Brother Preston. You said yourself, of course, that most of the people in Congressional Black Caucus in the Congress today are from districts that are not majority black. We're not going to win Congress seats in places that are majority black. We're going to have a plurality. Even majority black still needs plurality, right? That's number one. Number two, and you correct me if I'm wrong on the math here, Chicago's 17 wards in the election of 2024, the presidential election, just a little less than half of the people eligible to vote, registered to vote, voted in the 17 black wards, that is. So we got a voter turnout problem, as we know. And those numbers, of course, are lower than when Obama, of course, was running. I think it was in the mid-60s at that point. Still too low. As Roland often says, and Reverend Barber and folks, when we vote our numbers up, we win. It leads me to this question, and I lived in Philadelphia for about 20 years, and Bob Brady, a white man, represented a part of Philadelphia that was majority black, certainly plurality black. And when people would say, why is this white man representing this district where all these black people are, the answer would be constituent services. As far as I'm concerned, Rashida Tlaib is doing a fine job. And if you want to take her out, then yeah, all them Negroes that are running need to pick one of them and the rest of them sit down, which leads me to my question. How important is representation when it doesn't translate into being able to wield power? And I love Danny Davis. I love, absolutely. I believe black people should be in those seats. But when you have to get more than black votes, how important is it to have someone that's going to advance our interests regardless of color? And then the other question I would ask you has to do with gerrymandering. Clearly, if we vote our numbers, and I think they're going to find that out in Texas with these gerrymandered districts, these 5 seats they think they've stolen, but now you're snatching people and taking them and sending them out of the country and disappearing them. A lot of those Spanish-speaking folk are not going to vote Republican. Mark my words on that. How important is it in redistricting to take into account the fact that what we need in Congress are the people that are going to advance our policy interests, even though we would love for those people to look like us? It's more important that they advance our interests than it is what color they are.
Well, I wrote your question down. I think in its purest form is how important is it to have black representation? To me, it's everything. When No. That's not what. No. What I'm saying is I agree with you 100%. But the most important thing is that our issues be addressed. Wouldn't you say? 100%. 100%. Okay. Our issues must be addressed, and I understand what you're getting at. But let me be very clear. It is of the utmost important that we are the ones leading in our districts where we represent. What message are we going to send to our children that we cannot handle our affairs in such a way that we gave away our own space of political representation? That's not something. And by the way, we can do, and I want to make sure that we're very clear on all of the facts, because I think this is folks need to be clear on this as well. In Illinois, we have 17 members of Congress. 14 of those members are Democrats. 14. We have 3 Republicans to 14 Democrats. I think that we need to see something happen from our friends in Maryland. I think we see something happen there. Something from our friends in Virginia. We see some movement there. Our friends in New York are looking to do some things legally there. We know what our friends in California just got through doing. I'm not at all opposed to us using what we have. I'm opposed to us losing what we have. That's what this is about. So I don't want to be misrepresented in my position, brothers and sisters here. Black people are teetering on the edge. And to be very clear, you don't get the best representation from black folks unless you have black representatives, because it's a different type of responsiveness to the cries of our community when those cries are coming from one of us or coming towards one of us, who are, we're going to be a little bit more responsive to our people than others. And so, I plead with us, let's redirect this discussion. Let's focus on how we're going to turn out our base, because you're right, brother, what you said earlier about us having a voter turnout problem. We got a voter turnout problem, but that's because a lot of our people don't believe that they're really, truly the base, or they're being respected as the base. Again, how many white consultants have come to me and said, it pains me to come to your community and put together a voter turnout program 3 weeks before the election. Then I got to come back with bags of money 3 weeks before the next election. No. And I'll tell you, I'm going to fight out against that. What we have a problem with is a voter turnout. That's our real issue. So if we're going to have that discussion, let's talk about it. I want to see our party voter registration drives all throughout the south and west sides of Chicago. I want to see our party when the DNC comes to Chicago, not one event on the south side of Chicago. That is unconscionable. That's where we need to focus at. And so when you walk around in places like South Shore, Inglewood, Auburn Gresham, and our people feel neglected. That's our problem. That's what we need to focus on right there. And when we do that, we're going to turn out, we're going to strip this little dictator of all the little power that he has, because we're going to win the House back, make Leader Jeffries, Speaker Jeffries, because we did something and we brought all of our people out. That's what Willie Preston is fighting for, brothers and sisters. It ain't trying to knock against our party. It's trying to tell our party, wake up. We got the numbers right now. We got the maps right now. Let's use what we have right now more effectively.
I know. We were trying to figure out audio issues, but I got to ask you this here. You're complaining about not one DNC coming to Chicago, coming to the South Side, but you got 3 black members. So, again, listen, I'm not defending a party, but my whole point is, why did one of the 3 black members do an event on the South Side?
Look, I'm not going to be critical of our people in Roland. You know better than anybody, and I'm telling you, you're going to tell I'm a real fan of yours. You know better than me. I'm not about to go into no trick bag of being pitted against other black people. I will say, if Willie Preston is Congressman Willie Preston, you're going to see events galore on the South Side, whether the DNC is here or not. But certainly, I will take that question a lot better when I'm Congressman. But I don't want to be pitted against our current members. I don't know what they're,
I'm not pitting. I understand. I'm not pitting. All I'm saying is, if we're gonna complain that there were no DNC events on the South Side or the West Side, all I'm saying is you got 3 black members. One of them could have done something. That's all I'm saying. Marcus, your question.
And that's fair. And look, me and you we're in complete alignment on that. That's fair. Again, I haven't been in politics 20 and 30 years myself. But I can tell you right now, we need new tactics. This is a new era of politics, and we're about to bring it all the way throughout this nation. I'm talking to brothers in Boston and South Carolina and other places that telling me to hold the line. And brothers and sisters, members in North Carolina and other places, they hold the line in Illinois. And y'all gonna have to speak for us because they wiping us out down here. And when they saying they talking about, unfortunately, our own party sometimes, white Democrats, that they're not giving them the type of support that they believe that they need and deserve. And so, look, my position, what I'm communicating to my colleagues and to my constituents is we're going to hold the line. We're going to address that. We're going to focus on voter turnout, making sure that we give our people something to vote for, something to organize for, something to make sure that they build and maintain power for. That's where this conversations, I think, are most fruitful for us, intelligent black people in America right now, understanding our history in this country. Remember, we had black United States senators, black U.S. congressmen after Reconstruction. They gutted all that with Plessy versus Ferguson. It took us 84-some years to get that back through hard-fought political fights where my grandparents were getting bit by German shepherds over the right to have black representation. That's how we got the Voting Rights Act in 1965. We know that that's being challenged every way that it can right now, stripped from a con man, a dictator, a racist that has made his way back to the White House because he was able to con even some of our own people into supporting them. Con Latino folks is supporting him, and he done deported them. I see all on the news, they're crying about they wish they would have done it for him. So where our focus, brothers and sisters, needs to be is organizing what we got already and turning our people out in droves. We ain't getting our great brother Barack Obama to come back on the mic and say he's running for re-election because he's going to follow the Constitution, unlike Trump. But we can sit here and say that whole country that is being devastated by this con man, we're going to rise up on them. We're not going to be nice. We're not going to be politically correct. You don't want to be politically correct? We ain't got to be politically correct. We're going to take his ass out. Excuse my French if I'm not supposed to be vulgar here. But that's where our focus needs to be, y'all. We have to. We can't escape this. We got to turn our people out. But what we can't do, the answer to racism, racists cannot be dilute the black vote. That surely can't be the answer. The answer is let's organize, let's turn out, let's fight. And by the way, let's make sure that, Roland, to your point earlier, let's sit down in some rooms and have some conversations and say, we're going to send our best. We're not going to send you because your name is famous. We're not going to send you because you got experience. You've been there for a long time. We're sending you because you are right for tonight. We got a fight on our hands, and we need to be sending fighters there. But I would welcome you all to join.
Marcus. Hold on, I got one more person. Marcus, go.
Sure, Senator, thanks for your time and for coming on. Yeah, I definitely agree with my previous panelists that black voters don't necessarily equal Black representation, especially if you look at the makeup of the Congressional Black Caucus. But we do know that Black voting power is important. And when it comes to margins around these maps, right, we know that Black voters in districts, even in a plurality, can really spark real change in communities, even when they're not in the majority. So we know that Illinois has really heavily gerrymandered districts already. But I think, to your point, a lot of the Black population is locked into a few of those districts. Is there not a way, do you believe, through this process to spread Black voting power into other parts of the state where you think it can make a positive difference on the state's politics?
I appreciate that question, and I'll tell you this: if there is a way, then present it. I have not saw a way where I've not had a presentation where it's been presented to me in what you just described. And if there is a way, let's do it. Then we can kiss the baby and let's get this done. But if there isn't a way, then I think we need to make sure that we protect what we got. We can never give away the power that we have because it takes us a generation or maybe two to get it back. We have to protect what we have and grow what we have. That's the conversation that I think we need to be having. More Black representation. Trump and other maniacs, racist, jealous people are attacking us because we are increasing representation. And let me be clear on this point to what I said earlier about that Southside community, Auburn, Gresham, that will go over to Starved Rock. They don't even know what Starved Rock is, half of them. I can assure you that. But what we need to make sure that we're clear on is that the more Black the districts are, the stronger the representative is. And the stronger the Black representative is, the stronger they can be for Black interests. So we may have you all's point, we may have 60 some odd Congressional Black Caucus members, but they're there, but their issues may not be as vociferously Black as they could be. If, like, say, for instance, you get a congressman here with those 15 congressional districts that I referred to that are 50+1, quick, simple examination of their politics, the tone and tenor in which they speak on Black issues. It's a little bit more different than someone who happens to be Black but represents a district where they have like 14% Black people that they represent. They have to be the congressperson for their districts. I want to make sure that their districts are, certainly in Illinois, are Black districts, so they can speak Black, vote Black. That's all I got.
Well, I hope this audio is going through. I understand your point that you just made, but I'm going to tell you, one of the members of Congress that does not have a lot of Black people in her district, and I dare say she is the Blackest member of Congress, is Maxine Waters. So I get your argument, but your argument don't hold up. No, hold up. I'm giving you a fact. I'm giving you a fact. No, hold up. I'm gonna read you the number. I'm reading the numbers. Maxine Waters' district is 57.2% Hispanic, 23.8% Black, 8.3% Asian. Her district ain't even 25% Black. She's one of the Blackest members of Congress. So I get your point, but let's be real clear. Maxine Waters, that's a fact. So I'm just saying, we're gonna make the argument.
I got a bet for you there, Roland. If you can clone Maxine Waters across the country, then I'll shut up and vote for this bill. Maxine Waters, you threw a bomb.
No.
It ain't no many. It ain't no.
I got you.
Ain't no Maxine Waters around here, and she's Maxine Waters, an incumbent who enjoys the benefit of being able to say what the hell she wants, and I'm so grateful for her. But I'm not thinking about what Maxine Waters is doing as much as I'm thinking about what will be done after Maxine Waters. The vision for the country has to be thinking about what's next. And I swear, if you can get out Maxine Waters across the country, let's stop this debate right now. Let's vote on some maps.
Hey, Roland.
Greg, go ahead.
As Brother Preston, I was going to say, my former student at Howard University School of Law arguably, well, she's definitely one of the most progressive members of the House of Representatives or Senate, Summer Lee. Do you know her district in Pennsylvania, West Pennsylvania, is about 15% black? Come on, brother.
I'm sorry, I might have lost some audio. I apologize if it was a question asked.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. So we got it. We'll be following this here. We'll see what's going to happen in Illinois. We'll see what the governor has to say about it, what else happens, but the redistricting battle will continue. Willie Preston, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. We're going to go to a break again. I appreciate it. Thank you. Y'all been texting me. Y'all, I got the text. I got all of this here. We're trying to figure out what the hell's going on with the audio. My video is clean. The audio is not. All right. I got the control room dealing with it, live you dealing with it. So we're working through it. Trust me, we're trying to figure out what's going on, but we're going to get it fixed. I can tell you this shit can be fixed tomorrow. I can guarantee you that. Okay. So let me go to a break. I'll be right back.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds. As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shutdown.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys. This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it. They joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violence stream, including
hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in Black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting Black America. They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory. Attack woke, DEI. MAGA wants to defund Black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize Black people.
I am Swing Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Welcome back to Roland Martin Unfiltered here on the Black Star Network. While we're working on connectivity issues, we'll continue with the show. Former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James have requested the disqualification of the federal prosecutor handling their cases. Attorneys for Comey and James argue that Lindsay Halligan, the prosecutor appointed by Trump, is not a legitimate authority. During today's hearings, they informed U.S. District Court Judge Cameron Curry that their cases should be dismissed because Halligan was allegedly appointed unlawfully as United States Attorney. Under federal law, U.S. Attorney James and Comey's attorneys stated that 120 days had already passed under Eric Seibert's leadership by the time Trump appointed Halligan in September. And that's because under federal law, of course, U.S. attorney posts may be served on an interim basis for only 120 days without a Senate confirmation. The defense attorneys contend that Halligan acted as a private citizen when presenting the cases to the grand jury, which they claim, of course, renders the indictments void. Letitia James is facing federal criminal charges of bank fraud and making a false claim or false claims to a financial institution, while James Comey is charged with making a false statement and obstructing Congress. A federal judge has ruled that New Jersey Representative Monica McIver must face assault charges. McIver is accused, of course, in a 3-count indictment of slamming a federal agent with her forearm, forcibly grabbing him, and using her forearms to strike another agent. This indictment occurred during an oversight visit outside the Delaney Hall Detention Facility in Newark, New Jersey. The Congresswoman attempted to have the charges dismissed, arguing that the prosecution was unfair and that she was sheltered from legal repercussions by the Constitution's speech or debate clause, which grants members of Congress a degree of immunity from prosecution. U.S. District Judge Jamel Semper disagreed, stating that McIver's, quote, active participation in the alleged conduct removes her acts from the safe harbor of mere oversight, end quote. Judge Semper added that whether McIver's actions were lawful or unlawful, she had actively engaged in behavior unrelated to her oversight responsibilities and congressional duties. McIver, along with fellow Democratic Representatives Bonnie Watson Coleman and Rob Menendez, was involved in a chaotic situation as immigration agents moved to arrest Newark Mayor Ras Baraka on a trespassing charge, which was later dropped. Nola, it sounds like this weaponized Department of so-called justice under Trump may be getting the benefit of the doubt in at least the McIver case, and we'll see how the case plays out with Lindsay Halligan, who's not only thoroughly overmatched and unqualified, but at least if it was a plain reading of the statute, seems to be illegally occupying the office of attorney there in Virginia, district attorney in Virginia. Any thoughts on either of these cases?
Well, my first thought about the Comey situation is loophole the hell out of that shit. That's what Republicans do all day long. They find loopholes and honey, they go for it. And when I first read this story today, I was excited. I was like, okay, I like that maneuver. But, you know, regarding the Congresswoman's situation, I'm very disappointed in that particular ruling because it just creates a situation where Black women continue to be the whipping board. And here we have a situation that is advancing in the legal system That shouldn't be a situation in the first place. So, you know, as I sit here as, you know, an opinionated Black woman, I'm not going to lie. You have to think and pause about your kind of situation in this country right now when you do speak up, you know, when you do stand up for people, and knowing that Black people specifically have a target on our back. The Black women, as I keep saying, because the Trumpers think we are low-hanging fruit, because they don't think people will come to our rescue, they don't think people will care, they continue to come after us. And this is yet another situation that, so I'm very disappointed with that ruling. But I am kind of giddy about the loophole situation with coming.
Marcus, to follow up on that, and thank you, Nola, to follow up what Nola has just laid out. You know, it's interesting. This brother who is Semper, Judge Semper, there in Jersey, went to Hampton undergrad, got a JD from Rutgers, has been on the bench less than 2 years. Joe Biden put him on the bench. It seems like he's trying to read the law straight down the middle, but to contrast that with the Virginia case, they're just doing whatever the hell they want. How important, and I mean, you've been in just about every valence of politics, and you've seen it in the electoral side, you've seen it in policymaking side, and now, of course, you're seeing it full thrust in the advocacy side. You know, when we start talking about the rule of law, clearly something stinks in Virginia, but this Jersey case, it seems like Judge Semper is trying to interpret the law as best he can, but it still comes out and potentially to weaponize the law against this Black woman who was just trying to do her job. Any thoughts on, you know, how we should be thinking about the rule of law in these days when it's clear one side simply just doesn't have any regard for the rule of law?
For sure. I know we talk a lot and have talked a lot this year in Democratic circles about fighting fire with fire, and I tend to agree with that most of the time. One of the times I don't agree with it is when we're talking about the judgment and the decisions of our judges, and the fact that, you know, we see Trump-appointed judges and Republican-appointed judges really running roughshod over the law, bending themselves backwards to give Donald Trump anything he wants. Obviously should be a concern to us, but we should not expect the same thing from the fair-minded justices that have been appointed by fair-minded presidents. But for sure, to the extent to which we're seeing the law be twisted, right, to malign minorities, to malign people who show dissent, right? I mean, Kamala Harris is saying, "I told you so" over and over and over again. You know, what we need, you know, it is scary. But the thing that's making me laugh is that it's also so damn sloppy. I mean, the good thing is, like, if you were like a real expert fascist, like, you would get the dream team of legal experts to prosecute your political enemies. Like, this woman who's prosecuting Comey was like Trump's third choice after the first two people quit, and then they had to retroactively hire her to even go to the grand jury, and she's fumbling the case already. So I am concerned with how so many people are growing into the legal system, but the sheer sloppiness in which the opposition is doing it does give me a lot of courage.
No question, brother. No question. That sloppiness may be the thing to keep us out of the abyss. That's true. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network, and we will be right back. Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. The United States is the most dangerous place for a woman to give birth among all industrialized nations on the planet. Think about that for a second. That's not all. Black women are 3 times more likely to die in this country during childbirth than white women.
These healthcare systems are inherently racist. There are a lot of white supremacist ideas and mythologies around black women, black women's bodies, even black people, that we experience painless, right?
Activist, organizer, and fearless freedom fighter Monifa Akinwole Bandele from Moms Rising joins us and tells us this shocking phenomenon, like so much else, is rooted in unadulterated racism. And that's just one of her fights. Monifa Bandele on the next Black Table here on the Black Star Network.
Hey, I'm Mark Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League, and I'm watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
The holidays are approaching, and if you're not a baker, but you're responsible for bringing a dessert to the family dinner, our next guest has just what you need. Cute as a cupcake. They're rooted in family history. Sister Michelle Wainwright uses her grandmother's recipe. Each dessert is made from scratch and filled with love. Michelle Wainwright joins us now from Merrillville, Indiana. Welcome, Michelle, to Black Star Network and Roland Martin Unfiltered. Can't wait to hear about Cute as a Cupcake. Welcome, sis.
Thank you.
This is wonderful. I can't wait to hear about this. First of all, where is Merrillville? I mean, just, level set,
All right, we'll start there. So Merrillville, Indiana is at the northern part of the state, and it's right outside of Chicago. But we're really close to Gary, Indiana, where Michael Jackson, the Jacksons are from. So that gives you any indication. We're like 10 minutes from there.
Oh, wow. That's not far at all.
No,
so
not far at all.
Gary, kind of, huh?
Actually, Merrillville was Gary, and in 1970 they carved it out for whatever reason. But yes, we are right there.
Oh, okay. I won't speculate, although I can imagine where the reason might be. But I ain't gonna say nothing.
I think we
love
can.
Richard Hatcher.
Yes.
So black. Anyway, so is it correct? Just reading and looking at your website, and then the stories about you and just incredible work. You didn't start this as a for-profit venture. You out giving stuff out. I mean, how did this work? How did you start this? What becomes Cute as a Cupcake?
Yeah, so I was in the pharmaceutical industry, and during that I was a solo contributor, I was a district manager, and then I got laid off. And that wasn't uncommon, but I finally got caught up in one. But prior to even realizing that the layoff was coming, I was always excited about going into dessert shops and stuff, because we would spend time with the physician, and spending time with the physician was that we fed them. And so we had the capability of getting different food, going to different dessert places. So I was like, when I retire, I am going to have me my own dessert shop. Well, I didn't know retirement was going to come so soon for me because I got laid off. And so what I did was I took my severance and started Cute as a Cupcake. So that's how this all began. And at the time I was 39 years old. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting a new business fresh from scratch. How am I going to do this? And I started participating in vendor fairs and farmers markets. And doing that is how I was able to build the brand and get people the product in their hand. And then we just been moving ever since.
Your enthusiasm is infectious. Let me say that as somebody who smiles a lot, who just has a happy spirit. You can just feel it. So when you talk about hope, healing, and happiness, I mean, you can tell when somebody has a heart for service. I think it's hard to kind of suppress that kind of thing. You can see it. But, thinking about this, you saw people food insecure, huh? I mean, is that what kind of appealed to you, saying, we got to help people now as an addict, as a sweet tooth addict? I know maybe people are food insecure. They might not go for the cupcakes before, I don't know, beans and rice or meat. But for some, but what was it about the food insecurity that said, you know what, I need to come out here and help people. If it's not just with what I'm feeding them, it's the spirit I'm giving out too. What was that about?
Absolutely. So with Cute as a Cupcake, we want to be an advocate in the community. So I started a nonprofit called Cutie Cares. And with that, that's our focus, food insecurity and community wellness. So we would start by doing like simple things. We would go on our cupcake truck, because we have 2 cupcake trucks. So we would go out into the community, like the Boys and Girls Club, the Sojourner Truth House, St. Jude. These are different shelters and so forth that we have in our community. And we would go and just give out cupcakes, because at that time it's like, let's make people smile, right? And then we also have done things where we've done back to school, where we're actually giving out free meals in addition to the free cupcakes, back to school supplies, doing things like that. So I am a strong proponent about service and giving back to the community, because we need the community to support us, but it's just important that we support them. So now we're in the Thanksgiving holiday. So we partner with our local food bank. We do the can drives. So when people bring in like a non-perishable item into our brick and mortar location, we then give them a gift by giving them 10% off their purchase. So again, it's like, as we help each other, we can help the community, and we can do this all together. So I am a strong proponent for service. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. And it's been a 10-year journey, huh? Your 8-year-old,
Yes.
18, boy or girl?
So I have 3 kids. I have 2 boys and a girl. Yes. So they were little when I was beginning this journey.
I was going to say, send 1 or 2 of them to Howard. We'll take care of them, I promise you. I know you're probably looking at colleges and stuff. So, but, you know, over that arc of 10 years, you've been through COVID. And then tell us a little bit about how COVID kind of transformed what you were doing. And then maybe a few words on how you hooked up with the Chicago Sky. Shout out to the Sky.
Yeah. So, you know, COVID, just like all businesses, you had to pivot. And COVID really, for me, was, I'm careful in saying this because it was a challenging time for many people, but it was one of the best times for me of forcing me to be creative. So when I first started the business, as I mentioned, going into the vendor fairs and the farmers markets, what you guys have in front of you is our cupcake in a jar, right? And so with this, it's 2 layers of cake and it's 2 layers of icing, and it's ready to eat. So this is what I would have at the vendor fairs and the farmers markets, only because it was easy. I needed you to taste this product. So while you're in these markets, I couldn't worry about the cupcake if it was cute and it got spilt over in the box. I needed you to have this so you could throw it in your bag, in your pocket, in your purse or your merce, whatever it is, and keep going. And so when I got the brick and mortar location, I kind of moved away from the jars. But this is where COVID had me come back to the jars, because this product is how we kept ourselves alive. This is how I was able to stay in business, because we started shipping these nationwide. So I hadn't even thought about doing shipping. I hadn't even thought about this product no more for you to be in the vendor fair and the farmers market, for you to taste it and know that we had a good product. But when COVID hit, this is how we stayed alive. So because of that, I started being able to think about other opportunities, keeping the website going, thinking about wholesale, hospitality, airports, vending. We have a vending machine. So this one little product during that time of such uncertainty has allowed me to grow and scale my business. And so with that, fast forward to being a part of different business accelerators, right? So I went to school, I was in the pharma industry, but entrepreneurship, you know, it's a little different. You kind of learn as you go. And so I'm a big proponent of being involved in different accelerators. And that's how I was able to get connected with the Chicago Sky, because through their foundation, they have an accelerator. So I did that, and I won a pitch competition that they have, which was valued of $30,000. And in addition to that, I got a marketing grant with the Chicago Sky. So like for a whole year, we were able to go to the games, visibility, our branding is on the Jumbotron. We're there passing out samples and stuff. It has been great. And the relationship continues. I see them on a regular. So it's been phenomenal with just that one experience in 2020 with COVID, and how it has led me to be able to do a number of things with this one product.
Oh, that is wonderful. Okay, I'm going to bring Marcus and Nola into. Marcus Batchelor, any questions, comments?
Yeah, well, one, thank you for your innovation and ingenuity. I can't wait to order mine and get it shipped to DC. So thank you so much for this. My question, I know you said you really started this venture both out of passion and necessity, that you kind of had this pivot in your life and decided not just to kind of do something new, but do something new that you were passionate about. You know, as folks are, my mom is just retired. We now have, more even seniors now in the workforce longer who are looking at their second or third acts. We've got folks, falling out of desk jobs in the federal government and looking for ways to make a living and also give back to community. I guess, what are some of the biggest lessons you learned on your pivot? What were some of the growing pains, and what advice would you give for people transitioning to something exciting?
Yeah. I would say first and foremost, follow your instinct. Well, more or less when God is speaking to you, listen. So when I was laid off, there was a piece about me that I just could not explain. I couldn't articulate it to people, but I knew I was going to be okay. And even through the process of getting the business, trying to figure it out and understand it, I knew I was walking in my gift. Now, what I want people to understand is a lot of times they will tell you, jump. But the thing that's missing is some people don't sometimes tell you how to land. And the landing is the journey. So the journey, it's up and down. It's good. It's bad. It's like, why did I do this? I'm not doing this no more. Okay, I got this. I'm going to continue. But what I will tell people, one, is have an amazing support system, because sometimes as entrepreneurs, we can feel that we are alone. So your support system is really important. And having a mentor is also important. You need people that's around you, that's going to be honest with you, that's going to help you make decisions. And you're going to make mistakes. I have made several. And that's why, for me, I don't gatekeep. When people come to me and tell me that they're interested in starting their own business or whatever, I will give them a rundown of information to help them, because you need that support system. You need that ecosystem. So what I will tell someone, if you're feeling a bit, go for it, do it. Understand that it is a journey. And if you sincerely love it as you claim to be, you will be totally fine. But understand it is a journey. That's what I would tell people.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brother Marcus. Sister Dr. Nola Haynes, please, questions, comments, interaction with our good sister, Michelle Wainwright.
Oh, Michelle, this is so wonderful. And thank you so much for being so transparent about your pivot. So in my work, one of the things that I do is follow trends. Usually, security trends around conflicts and war. However, I think that translates. And I remember the hype around Sprinkles cupcakes in LA when I was living there. And I remember the ebb and flow. And I thought we were at the end of the cupcake trend. Mm-hmm. And here you are. Not only have you survived COVID and you're thriving, how are you bucking this kind of wall that sometimes happens with trends? And I tend to put cupcakes in that category. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is your secret sauce?
Well, my secret sauce, all my cupcakes are handcrafted and made from scratch. So we will start there. But I will say you're absolutely right when it comes to trends, but you have to be true to what you do. So, for example, even when I was trying to build out my storefront, so we're sitting here now, I didn't want to have a location that had a specific theme for the time. I wanted my store to be timeless, right? I want it to be simple. I want it to be less is more. So I've kind of always had that thought process. Now, when it comes down to, okay, how do you keep up? How do you go along with the trends? Being able to have multiple sales channels also help us. So I have the brick and mortar location. I have the cupcake trucks. We have a presence online in addition to the wholesale. So that helps us out tremendously by having these different books of business. So if people aren't feeling like they want to be bothered with the traditional cupcake, then they can also take on our cupcakes in a jar. They don't want to step into the brick and mortar location. Well, we can service you and give you an experience on the cupcake truck. So I would think that we're able to stay abreast and stay in the know about what's going on. Because one, we're flexible, we're agile, and I will pivot if need be. But I think our different books of business also help us stay around.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Haynes. Thank you, Sister Nola. Michelle, what's your grandmother's name and where was she from?
Catherine Crawford, and she was from Saginaw, Michigan. Yeah, so Saginaw, Michigan, but she was raised in Gary, Indiana, so not far from where I am. And this coming December will be 2 years we lost her. But the beautiful thing about it is her legacy continues to live on. It lives on in the cupcakes in a jar. I mean, actually, where I'm sitting, she would be at this table in the store telling people what cupcake they need to get, or telling me, oh no, you didn't do that right. You know, so it's a wonderful thing that her legacy can still live on through Cute as a Cupcake. So I'm so blessed with that.
Ashe, oh yeah, we all got to go that way. But she just graduated. She over there with my mom and the rest of them. Basically, she's all up through this conversation. So
yes, absolutely.
Now, we know, of course, that you got a website, but we also know for everybody looking, y'all can see on the screen, the shopblackstarnetwork.com. There are a couple of ways to get there. You can go there directly, or you can just go to the blackstarnetwork.com, and you'll see above the header there's a little click for shop, and it'll take you right there. And as soon as you hit that, you will see it, Shop Black Star Network. The first up, Cute as a Cupcake, Cupcakery. Michelle Rainwright. Hopefully you won't have anything to sell, because everybody about to crash the website and get all these cupcakes out. So you got to make a whole lot more. Thank you for joining us.
I love it. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yes, and I will say, just to let the viewers know, our cupcakes in a jar are 2 layers of cake and 2 layers of icing, and they're ready to eat. So all you gotta do is grab a spoon, open up, and go. So I want the people to be able to enjoy this wonderful dessert.
See, that's the good kind of drug, but you're clearly out here dealing, because people somebody about to have a good time tonight. So we appreciate you, sis. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Of course. We'll talk again soon. So that's it for tonight. Remember to support the Black Star Network. You know all the ways to do it. We see the graphic all the time. And Marcus and Nola, thank you, of course. We riding, rolling. You didn't have to take us to Bermuda, brother, but there it is right there. You see the Stripe, the Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, and checks or money orders. For those of you who are old school and still do that, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. I can't read that nearly as fast as Roland does, and he does it from memory anyway. Marcus, Nola, thanks for riding with us. Big brother, have fun in Bermuda. You ain't take us with you. Oh yeah, don't forget, buy White Fear, especially now, because that basically is telling you what's going on right now, how the browning of America is making white folks lose their minds. Also, of course, we got Fan Base, the good brother Isaac Hayes, and his work. There it is right there on a slice. That's even more important now. Black-owned media, not black-focused media, although this is black-focused and also black-owned. So make sure that you support in all the ways you can. Marcus, again, Nola, thank you. Carol, thanks again. Anthony, Stephen, everybody there at the mothership. And we will see you all later. As Roland would say, holla.